Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 50 of the CPA-fol podcast. Super excited to chat with all of you again tonight. If you recall, which I'm sure most of you do, I took a little break last week. I needed some time. Was doing some preparations for this little production that happened earlier this week, I should say. And I hope all of you were there on the stream on Monday. Yeah, yep, Cooper got the fresh cut. Just don't smack me, please. I've had enough. I've had too much going on this week. There's been a lot of fun things going on, a couple of not fun things going on, like house issue things. So I just need just going to have this chill night to kind of relax, sit back, learn a lot, and chat with all you, chat with Shy. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. So I'm looking forward to that. Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about Monday a little bit. We'll talk about the stream, how that went, maybe a little behind the scenes, some stuff we can share, and then we'll kind of dig into that a little bit, kind of our thoughts as a whole. And then, yeah, obviously with the title, you'll never guess my favorite Lego. I had kind of a little bit of a little clicky title. You got to have something to get the people in the door, if you will. So I threw that up there. We'll talk about some of our favorite themes, favorite Lego sets, especially sets when we were kids, sets when we were younger that got us into the hobby. Just like all of us out there, we have that. We have all that kind of stuff that got us into Lego. So we'll talk about that. Let's see, what else do we have on the agenda? We'll talk about Shy's niches, like the military aspect, those custom minifigs, and then even getting into LAN. And I just realized I didn't put it on the agenda, but we'll talk about his podcasts, which actually the first one, Cali Bricklink, it ended about the same time I was getting into the community, which is kind of interesting. So I wasn't there for that, which is kind of sad because I hear people talk about it all the time. So it'll be interesting and fun to talk about that. And then, we'll talk about LAN, his experience with LAN so far, what it's like, as I'm sure we're all curious with that. So I'm very, very excited for this episode, and it's going to be a fun one. So without waiting too long, I'm gonna release his audio. We're gonna unmute the audio, bring Shy onto the deck. How you doing this evening?
What's up, man? How's it going? Thanks for having me.
Dude, absolutely. I figured this one is a little bit overdue, I feel. You as a guest here.
It's all good. I definitely want to go there because you're gonna be on Sauce one day. I definitely need to make I need to definitely make a travel plan to go there to get you and Caleb.
Oh, yeah. No, that'll.
Yes.
Hey, 2 for 1 in that trip.
Oh no,
you
for
probably
sure.
get a couple people, honestly.
Probably
in this area.
Well, for sure.
But
no, it's definitely. I'm definitely not gonna waste you on a Brick World trip. It's no. I'm definitely. I want to make it to your area because you got a cool setup looking at that. Caleb has a cool setup looking at his, and I want to visit CAC.
Oh yeah. I actually haven't visited that yet. I think he took Harry there and Sands. They both made it to the warehouse, which is fun. But whenever I go, it's usually just like a quick weekend. So because I'm pretty close to him, so we haven't done that yet. But no, that'd be super fun. Looking forward to that. And of course, next year, obviously, are we over the hump with Brick World? We're getting there. Getting over the 6 months.
No, I think we're just over 6 months. Yeah. We're under 6 months to get there at this point.
Like mid December will be the 6 month mark, and then we'll be.
And we're there.
It'll be my busiest time of year, which it kind of works out because I'm able to look forward to that at the end of my busy season where I'm working way too much. So it's always a nice little treat at the end of the tunnel.
It's in the name. It's in the name.
Oh, unfortunately. But I guess we can kind of start out just because it's a little fresh with Monday. Working with Bricklink, working with a subsidiary of Lego, if you will, to put on this little production. I don't know if I told you, but you were far and above like my first choice to
be
the host for that thing, just because I was thinking like, all right, who can I bring on that, because I didn't want necessarily someone that was super into the Bricklink Designer Program just because I did want a little bit of an outside perspective.
Fair enough.
But you're still very knowledgeable with the Lego. You definitely appreciate the BDP, and I think you had sort of been getting into it in the last maybe couple months leading up to it. Would that be accurate? I don't know how many purchases you've made so far.
I've made a lot.
Oh.
Since the very first run before Lego acquired them.
Oh, so you're a little more knowledgeable than I thought.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not to the extent where you're at, where you're looking at all the entries that are being put in, like knowing the backgrounds of the designers. Like, I don't know any of that. So I remember my first 2 sets was the bicycle one from the very first round, as well as the saloon, the Western Saloon. Okay. So those are my first 2 sets that I don't keep boxes. I tend to toss them out, but for some reason I do have these 2, and I'm kind of happy that I never tossed them out. So I got those 2, and anything that has to do with Castle and Western, it's you know, if I can make it into a module, like if it could fit in the city, I'll buy it. But I haven't opened any of them except from the first 2. Or the first 2 sets that I have. Yeah, they're all still in their boxes. If you remember the short that I released the Sunday before, like those were
all the stacks.
That was just the ones that I could reach. The rest of them are still in their boxes, like tucked in the very bottom of my humongous backlog stack. So I was just like, I can grab these, stack them up right away, and then here we go. But yeah, I haven't really built them, so I didn't really consider myself an expert as far as like you know the building process and all that kind of stuff. But if I like the set, I'll buy it.
Yeah, and that's honestly kind of where I'm at with it too. Is not trying to be a completionist. That's just, for me anyways, that's too much. I know a couple people that are completionists, I think, across the whole, even since before they were acquired by Lego. But no, and I mean, like we said on the stream, there's so many to grab, and I've just told myself I have to be selective. I can't get all of them. I have to be like, yes, that one. I love that one. I have to get that one. So of course, Art Factory for me personally is number 1, because I'd wanted that set since Series 5. And I remember. Selected. Yeah. So I was super pumped about that one, but I also haven't built any. Well, besides Brick Cross, of course, but I haven't opened any sets to build for myself. So it's like just waiting for the right, waiting for the right space. I just don't have a spot for any of those yet. But yeah, it's.
Oh wait, yeah, I did build one. The Lego store, the modular Lego store, which is right there, that I kind of lit up on my own. Yeah, you can't really. It's not gonna happen. Yeah. So, but it's that one right there, the Lego store. I remember seeing that as a mock before it was even entered into the Bricklink Designer Program. Yeah. And I was like, I fell in love with it so much. So when it came out, I was like, oh yes, must buy. And it's one of the, pricier ones, I think, on the aftermarket for. Oh yeah, I think it's pushing 500, if not over. Oh wow. So I'm happy to have that one.
Yeah. And I mean, Lego they don't typically do the self-branded stuff. And with the delivery truck, that's one of the reasons I love that set so much, is because it's self-branded. And maybe Lego, I don't know if you have a better guess than I do of why Lego doesn't prefer. It seems like they don't prefer to do self-branded stuff.
Well, they tend to release a Lego store on the shelf, like as like a small little Lego store that you can buy. So I think there is one still available right now, but they tend to have that set as like one of the few things that they like a self-branded type of set. Yeah, but it's not often.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I hope they do more self-branded stuff though. Even if they did a full-on modular that was a Lego store,
that was it.
Yeah. I mean, that was that one, but their own maybe a different rendition or something like that.
Sure. I mean, but that one is like modular rules before they change them all.
Oh, so it's got the base plate and the pins.
Pins as well as the light post. So,
wow, yeah. So with the Bricklink Designer Program, I mean, when I had asked you, and then obviously right away you said yes. I like what kind of was your idea going into it of what you were expecting versus what actually happened?
Well, I knew. Am I allowed? Am I allowed to disclose what we wanted it to be?
Yeah, I think
Sure.
I think we can, just because I'm fine with how it happened.
Okay.
And like I think it happened the better way, especially for the first time. I think
Okay.
it was just a better way for it to go than what I originally wanted. So yeah, I think I'm
Yeah, I
fine
mean,
with
why
it.
not, right? I mean, like, I think it was success either way. So
Yeah.
at first, going into it, when you invited me on, I was honored. So I really appreciate you asking me, and I was like, hands down, whatever you as a creator wants, I'm gonna back that 100%. So like from the beginning, I already knew you wanted this to be on your channel,
Yeah.
like just like what we're doing right now,
Yeah.
but with the Bricklink designers and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So, but here, and I get it, and I want you to grow and benefit way more than it would benefit me. So I'm here to support you like I do with other creators in the space. So I remember going into the meeting about this with Bricklink, and I was kind of hesitant about where in the direction of where they wanted to go, only because I just in general, and I'm not gonna blame, I'm not putting Bricklink into a label, but Lego themselves, when it comes to live streaming, right? So, and I already know how complicated they can make it.
Yeah.
And it sounded like it was gonna get pretty heavy as far as what they wanted to do. So I suggested like just pre-recording a bunch of stuff just so that would be less glitches, less issues, just because I didn't think they'll be able to pull off a live stream on their own. Again, if this was like under your control, oh yeah, for sure, I know you got it. CPA's got this. Whatever he needs from me, I'm gonna back it up. But for the most part, I just kind of stayed behind in the curtains with whatever you wanted to do, because again, this is your project, this is your idea. I'm not here to take it over. And I kind of just again, I used to stay in the shadows. But whenever you said something or whenever they said anything, I didn't really put my voice into it going forward. I was just like, whatever CPA says, I agree with.
Yeah.
But the week out coming towards, I was starting to get a little nervous. Not gonna lie, because now it's gonna be on the Bricklink Designer channel, and then when they put us on the banner on Bricklink, I was like, oh snaps! I was not expecting that amongst anything, and I'm like, and that's when I don't really get nervous about live streaming, hanging out, or being around anybody, but when they put that on there, I'm like, oh shoot, I need to prepare something.
Yeah, no, it's real.
It's real. But and I'm like, okay, you know what? CPA's got this. I'm just gonna look at the agenda, see what it is in there. I remember reading it a bunch of times. I probably asked you like one thing. I'm like, what is these mystery boxes? And it didn't really
that
like
kind of threw me off as well, because I was like,
what is that?
Are we giving something away?
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Are we doing a midstream giveaway? And then I saw there were 5 of them, and I was, oh, okay, they're calling these reveals.
I didn't even put that together. I was just like, what is it? Okay, whatever. I'm just gonna go with if CPA asked me to do something, I'm just gonna prepare for it. So I prepared a bunch of questions also, which I never said any of them, but that was cool. It was fine. I didn't need to. There was already pre-made questions, and we're gonna go off the chat. So I figured, if I'm running the second question out of every pre-made question, and if we're just going off the chat, that's sufficient enough. I could kind of say what I wanted to say and loop it back to the question, which I fairly did with all of them.
That was fantastic. That was one of the things I commented to my wife even. I was like, that's why I chose Shy, because maybe another creator would just ask the question of that's written down for you, but no, like setting the stage for the question, helping the designers really see, here's why I'm asking this question, and here's why it's important to know, and really helping them, give them time to think about what they're going to say too, while also getting a better answer from them too.
I could definitely fluff, as Claire the plastic architect used to say when we were in Cali Bricklink. I do that pretty well unintentionally. So I figured I'll just kind of BS my way through it, and it worked out pretty well. So I was kind of happy about it. But
no, it worked out really well.
Yeah, so I thought the stream went well. I mean, I can only speak, from firsthand experience, but a lot of the feedback that I got through DMs and conversations, not one person said like something negative. So I'm hoping that it continues. And so thank you again for letting me be a part of it. Dude. Again, this is your baby, and I wanted you to win in this. And I'm happy to support you with your endeavor on that.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks so much for being on the show, on the stream as well. It And kind of like what I said is originally going into it, I wanted it on the ideals of, I wanted my channel. I wanted to basically run the whole thing through OBS like here. Of course, as we talked, Lego, they have to do things a certain other way, which now I kind of see the full picture of how that works and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
So no, but with how it went, I think it was especially for the first time, it was everything at the core that I expect that I wanted it to be, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think we can basically just kind of elevate it in a way.
Yeah.
Each iteration. But yeah, I mean, I think at the core, it just does. It is exactly what it needs to be. So.
And that's what you said. Like, you didn't want to come in full blazing. This is like the stream. You wanted to build upon and improve. Otherwise, it's like now you just put yourself on a pedestal and you have to beat that the following year or the following series if we continue to do it that way. Like for me, I was just, you wanted to do it through OBS and your ideas. I was just like, there's a lot of moving parts with a lot of people. Like, I don't trust these people to do it. So I'm like, StreamYards. Just do StreamYards. It's a very, everyone can't really mess that up. So, I know it's kind of like, we're going down as basic as we can. But when it comes to large groups of people, especially when they're not used to streaming, if they have if they're using not blurry background, if they have a watermark, no hit to Sean, when they're using like a watermark backdrop, so it's just like, okay.
Definitely didn't want that.
No, so I'm happy that they went with StreamYard and listened to me on that one. But maybe going forward, we are able to use what we're using right now to be able to do what you want to make it look a lot 10 times better, and you have that control.
Yeah, and I think that'll just come with time. I don't know if I foresee that happening anytime soon, just because it was really, really nice to, and originally, like, I wanted to basically run everything even in the background, but even thinking about it from that perspective of, I couldn't, I would not have been able to solely because there were so many people in chat and chat was moving so fast. Then there would have been no way for the people in the background to communicate the messages that they wanted to show on screen for me. And even me just clicking in a message like I do here right now, it would not have been possible to still be able to talk and interact with you and the designer and do some hyping up. So.
Yeah, so in case anyone didn't know, there was someone in the background that was reading everything that was in chat. Wasn't really a little bit of moderating, but wasn't really like a loud moderator. We can see them moderating, but they were deleting comments and putting people in timeout. But they also were selecting or starring the questions for us to say. So which also helped us out since we didn't have to like sift through them as we're going. But we still did pull a lot from the chat. But it was definitely helpful to be like, okay, we can kind of let's talk about this. This person asked a great question. So we didn't have to think about it so much.
All Outbreak. That's how I felt. He says not being in control of a stream that you are running sounds like an anxiety bomb, and that's what I was worried about. Is that we're gonna miss something's gonna get messed up. But like you said, StreamYard, once you're live, you really can't mess it up. Even if the computer that is hosting dies, you're still good to go. And that's kind of the biggest thing is, if internet dies or XYZ. So, Cooper, they weren't as experienced as you, but hey, maybe I did. I don't know if, I don't think you were able to make it to that meeting, but I did pitch to them. I said, I have someone that I know and trust to be a good moderator. And they didn't bite that time, so we'll have to wait till next time. We'll see. But and I think the main feedback was just having maybe a little more moderation in chat. But that's definitely fixable. That's fixable. And then I believe I shared with you and just like with anything in life, if you want to get the most critical feedback possible, where do you go?
Comments.
In which specific platform?
Well, YouTube.
Reddit.
Oh, Reddit. I don't go on Reddit, man. Reddit just makes me mad.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I was like, what are the real
What do they
people
say?
that hate life saying? So it was mainly, it was on the, I think it was just on our Lego or something like that. Just posting the finalists, and so there was one comment. There was one comment that said something along the lines of, "It would have been better if they just showed all the 5 up front and then talked about them." So then I'm
so no, so
why that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Lack of anticipation part. Yeah, I get it. They just want to be fed it. See, that's the 5-second attention span type people. So
that, and just like you get that. You can go check the website at that point. It probably would have been like 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. Like you can still have that same experience. Just don't come to the live stream. Yeah. So I think that for the people that this stream was intended for, they loved it. It was amazing. It was awesome, and I think we can just make it better from there. So.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like it wasn't like it was all dropped all at once, and it's not like they pushed the live stream after the live stream was over. Like once it was over, it was gone. The link was gone from the banner. You can obviously still find it on the Bricklink YouTube channel, but as far as like taking that experience away from the people that just want to see the 5, it wasn't really removed.
Yeah.
So kick rocks.
Yeah. It's pretty much. I mean, like you are not losing anything by this happening. Yeah. My main goal was just getting the people that wanted to have community to come together and just have a space to chat about the sets and
agreed
and have a little bit of hype. I think a little bit of hype goes a long way for some people. Tyler says, "You guys should have done it the Life Bricks way. 8-hour stream to reveal all 5." Of course he says. Oh no.
We would have pissed off so many people.
Reddit would have been like, why do I? And what, that would have put the actual website drop to midnight.
Man. They would have hated us. I think they would have like really destroyed us as creators more so.
Oh yeah. Like what? I had to wait that long. So then I would have understood those comments a little more based on that. Let's see. All Out Brick says, "How much discussion was there about the time of the stream? Was there ever a thought to do it after typical workday hours?" So yeah, there was a pretty big discussion over the timing, just because we do know that there is a lot of European in that side of the globe. There's a lot of those people that follow the Bricklink Designer Program, maybe even more so than the US. So we didn't want to ostracize those people and put it at like 5 p.m. or 7 p.m. and then it's 3 a.m. their time or 2 a.m. whatever, midnight. So we thought that was the best time of day. I originally wanted it on Sunday just to have a full day before, and then that kind of was shot down pretty early, which fairly I definitely get of not creating the leak culture of not having it on the website until Monday, but it's on YouTube on Sunday, and then you have people posting like it's leaked, blah, blah. So yeah, I definitely get that. But
I mean, I also thought, they didn't want to work on a Sunday.
Yeah, for them it's technically work. For us, it's like, we're doing a fun live stream.
Yeah,
no, it's a good
because I mean, again, there was a rather large team on the other end that no one saw except for Alex. So to have all those people come in on a weekend to do this, that's a pretty penny.
Yeah.
So.
No, yeah, exactly, and that's I think all in it was probably about 5 hours of their days, even just on Monday, not even including time before to prep and set up the assets and all that stuff. So there was a lot of time that went into this stream, and I think it went well. And my thought for the next time is to I wanted to circulate or cycle co-hosts.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But I just don't know, who am I going to get to top Shy Time is my time?
There's a lot. There are other people you can bring in. I think would do just as good.
So yeah, we'll have to see. I'll have to think about that. Thankfully, I have a couple months. We have if this, and I know I'm saying it like it's like a sure thing that's going to happen again. I'm fairly confident that it was all good. So I think Bricklink wants to do it again. But
if we do
not,
it at the same time every time, you could have your co-host, and if they fail you at the last minute, you just gotta give me a call, and I'll turn everything on, and then boom, we're good.
exactly. Always have that contingency.
I'll always be the backup.
Firebird says, "Do it with Brickmaster Harry. That guy can yap." Oh man, that would be funny, especially since I don't think he knows anything about the BDP, or
I don't know. Does he consider
like
it
like fake?
Does he consider it fake Lego?
No,
no Lego.
that would be Tiago. We could probably Do you know the Tiago beef?
With Harry?
No, with me.
With you?
Sort of with Harry as well.
No, because I mean Harry's #2 fan.
Yeah.
Tiago. But no, what's your beef with Tiago?
So
we're making this public again, I guess.
Yeah.
Apparently I didn't even know about it.
So of course I had like a lot of Bionicle stuff at Brickworld Chicago this past year.
Oh.
And so Tiago says that he insists that Bionicle is not real Lego. Like it's literally not even Lego.
I remember this now.
Yeah.
Once you said Bionicle, I was like, oh yeah, I know where this is going.
But you probably haven't seen that in random Instagram and YouTube comments on various people's videos. He'll just randomly reply to me and say Bionicle is fake. Bionicle isn't real Lego, and like totally unrelated.
He's just trolling you.
He is. It's like, here we go. Firebird says, when Lego brings back Bionicle, I want them to send Tiago review copies. Oh, that would be sweet justice. Oh, that would probably be the best sort of revenge that I could have.
But he knows it would never come back.
I don't know.
That's a lot of
happening.
I don't know. Yeah, that's a lot of molds you have to create. I don't know if they could justify this expense of that.
Hey, they've created more molds for lines that have done worse. So
yeah, but those molds are used in other themes.
Maybe. See, okay, I've said this a million times, but I don't think I've said it to you. So I think that what Lego needs to do is bring it back via the Icons theme with one $100 set, or like $80 to $100. Make it a revamp of an old set, so like a Titans set. Remake it with a mix of systems and Technic. Give me a custom molded mask and a custom molded weapons, and then just see how it does.
I feel like with what they have for like their buildable figures, like all the contraction type figures, along with what they have in Technic and other special molds that they use for like Ninjago and Monkey Kid, they could definitely pull off a Bionicle set. Very basic, as long as they make a new molded face mask and a weapon. Yeah. So I feel like it can be done with what they currently have in inventory. It won't be pure as far as like what it was back in the day, but that would be a good testing water with just like maybe 5 of them and see how they do. Coming in throw it back into the tube, that might be kind of awesome.
Ooh, the tube would be so cool. I mean, they would never do that, and I don't blame them. Like, that's a lot of plastic, but I would be so for that. Cooper even saying Lego makes a lot of mechs that would benefit off of new Bionicle parts. That is very, very true. And so, like, if Bionicle were to only last a year, I would be fine with it, just because I would probably have one of the largest repositories of those sets in the country. So I'd be fine with it, you know?
I don't know. I feel like Firebird should probably try to attempt it.
He probably would and could, or would.
I think he could
and would.
I think he'll pull it off. Like, I made Bionicle minifigure. Oh, I made Bionicle sets using current day pieces. That'd be kind of funny.
That'd be awesome. I mean, speaking of, it was up in chat, and I'm sure you saw that Firebird hit 100K on YouTube today. Whew.
Congratulations, my boy.
That
well
was
deserved.
Oh my goodness, yes, totally well deserved. We had a stream last year, or no, at the beginning of the year. And that was one of his goals for the year. If I can say, one of his goals was to get a 1 million view video in 1 calendar year. He hit that once already, and he's literally about to do it again. And then his other goal was to hit 100K by the end of the year, and he hit both of those, which is so awesome.
Get that plaque.
So happy for him. Yeah. Oh, that's super. Him and Brickmaster Harry both hit 100K.
Yeah, him and Harry.
And Stud City hit 100K.
Stud City as well.
So many Lego YouTubers.
Let's
super
go.
exciting.
Let's go.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're only 30 minutes into the conversation, so we should probably start the agenda.
Let's go.
So let's take it way back to when you were younger. We'll start with you, and then we'll kind of kick it back to when I was younger. What was Lego like for you in your younger years?
Oh, wow. So my younger years, so early 90s, I got into Lego in like 92, 93 time. And my first Lego set was the Black Knight's Fortress. So classic castle, classic pirates, all the classics. That was, it wasn't even city, it was town. So like that was also during Paradisa, and like, you know, a bunch of cool themes that a lot of people want throwbacks to. I mean, I'm a later millennial, so I mean that makes sense. So if, you know, and also all leading up into Western, and then, you know, time cruisers, and then ending with the first wave of Star Wars. That's when I got out, after that first wave, and then when Bionicle showed up. After that I checked out. But like that time period of the 90s, that's what Lego was like. And it was you know, it wasn't too expensive. I remember seeing I would always go to Target or Toys R Us and just stand in the Lego aisle and like just hope that my mom would allow me to buy a $5 set, which was, you know, something pretty big. It was pretty decent. So like oh man, those were good times. Yeah, I wish I still had a lot of those sets. I wish I took advantage back then, but you know, I didn't make any money, so I'm not the whim of what a single mom was going to be able to give me. So a lot of my sets in the very beginning, they were all hand-me-downs. But you know, it was cool, dude. I had a little town just like my city, but it was a small one. My wife, as a teenager, my wife saw them, so like she was cool with me having Lego as a kid. I mean, my wife at the time, not even my girlfriend, she was just a friend. Like she saw my room with the Lego all over the place, so she had no problem. She knew
what she was getting into. Yeah. She'd accepted it already, which is.
But it was a good times, man. Lego wasn't really. I don't know if it was as big with like the culture with other kids, but I do remember a few of my friends having a huge amount of it that I would definitely be jealous of, but always be around to kind of help them build and play with. Like I remember one of my boys had like all the Aqua Sharks and Aqua Raiders.
Oh yeah.
And just set up in his house. It was so cool, like just to play with like the submarines and stuff like that with the red. My neighbor had like whatever Lego set he wanted, he got. So I wasn't as fortunate, but so you know, I definitely should probably hit him up, because I know he probably still has it somewhere, and he's definitely not using it. So I'm like, there's a lot of classic sets in that. I could probably tax from it if he doesn't want it.
No, yeah, that's the dream. But yeah, no, for me, kind of in the same respect of wasn't getting Lego sets from my parents really. I think partially because they didn't know which ones I wanted, which is, I guess, even true to this day. Like no one buys me Lego because they're like, he already has whatever he wants, or what he wants to get, he's gonna buy. So I don't want to buy him something he already has. But it was like Christmas and birthday were the only real times where I got Lego, and I was buying it with my own money. So I feel like that's kind of an interesting discussion as a whole of like, most of us when we were younger, I feel like we bought all of our own Lego, or we were very particular. Like, I know what I want. I've looked through the catalog. I'm getting this, instead of just, parent, grandparent, here's a Lego set that I thought you might like. Is that how it was for you as well?
Yeah.
You knew what you wanted?
I only had a few very large Lego sets, like a few, like maybe 4, right? So, and I remember them all. One of them was my first Lego set, but that was given to me. The next one wasn't until Royal Naz Castle. I had that one too. That one I asked for Christmas once, and then, you know, my birthday's near Christmas, so it was one of those that I got, you know, one large gift from everybody, and that was accumulating. That wasn't just from like, you know, one person. It was like both my mom and my dad and my aunt and my uncle and my stepmom, like they all put money in to get me that. at the time $100 set
Yeah.
or whatever, how much that cost. So I had a few of those, and the last one that I got was a Fort Legoredo. So that's my thing, and that I hold dear to my heart is that one set. And like, yeah, everything else that I got was a bunch of small tiny builds that I had to, build up and break up to build other things for.
Yeah. No, so were you right? You mentioned Bionicle was right at the end of your right at the beginning of your dark ages.
Yeah.
So you didn't quite experience those, or you?
No, I remember them coming out, but as soon as Star Wars came out, I think the last Lego set that I ever purchased was a Snowspeeder. Oh no, the Naboo Fighter. The Naboo Fighter was the last set that I bought.
I think it's behind me somewhere in there. Yeah.
The first one. Yeah. So those are the two sets that I got, and then that was it. I stopped buying, and that's when I think when did Bionicle come out? 99, 2000,
2001.
Yeah, 2001. I remember seeing it on the shelves, and then I just never it didn't interest me because 2001 that was my freshman year in high school. I was busy doing other things.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's fair. And I feel like for me it was. So I was very, very into Bionicle from like 2003 to 2005. And then once Lego Star Wars kind of got good again and really picked up the quality in 2006 is when I really got back into Lego Star Wars and kind of dropped Bionicle. But to your point of like playing with other kids and stuff, I remember going over to my friend's house who had all the Lego sets. He had Bounty Hunter Pursuit. I remember he brought it to recess one day and we were playing with that. And then of course he had almost all of the Bionicle Toa Matas. And I remember the first time I ever saw them. I was like, what are these? These are so cool. So that was my ignition, pun intended, into getting into those, into getting into Bionicle. And to a counterpoint of sorts with what you mentioned is I am very fortunate to have like 95% of the sets that I accumulated when I was younger. I still have them to this day.
Nice.
Which is awesome. So like, let's see if I can move out of the way. The Jabba's Barge, and it's kind of dark back there, but the 2006 Jabba's Barge that I got that one with my birthday money one year. Still have that one, which is really cool. So having all these old sets is just always a good time.
Yeah, I'm almost there. As far as like large sets that I want to get, I have them. I almost have them all. I'm just missing the drawbridge from the Royal Knights, and then I have every large Lego set that I had as a kid. The only thing that I really want to get that I had was the pizzeria. It's a city pizzeria, and then the semi truck, the Lego semi truck. Oh, and then the Western wagon. Those are the three small Lego sets that I still need to obtain within that collection. But all three of those Lego sets are expensive.
So expensive
in the aftermarket.
Are you in the mode of like you want to buy them new and experience them as you would have as a kid, or you just like you want to have the set?
I just want to have the set. Yeah. So with those sets, I want the box.
Oh, okay.
So normally I wouldn't care about the box, but as far as Fort Legoredo, all the castle sets and the sets I just mentioned, like I want the box. So I'll buy it used with it like 97% complete, and I'll buy the other pieces in the aftermarket as cheap as possible. I don't need to be brand new, and I don't need to be pristine. I'll get it there if I needed to. Plus, like it kind of feels cool when it's not pristine, because if I would have kept those same sets till like now, they would look horrible. So like, having it, still loved after someone's given it away or sold it, I think I can appreciate that more.
Yeah. So then flipping to the other side of your dark ages, coming out of them, getting back into Lego, what did that look like?
Oh my God. That was bad.
Was it were you a COVID?
I fell. No.
Before
So
that?
I was before that. It was I think 2017.
Okay.
But I wasn't like buying heavily. It was pretty much whenever Assembly Square came out, so 2017 or 18, around there. So I got Assembly Square and the Parisian Restaurant. So I bought those two sets, and that's officially what got me on my dark age. So
So
when I got out,
modulars, right?
modulars brought me back. So, but in the time frame of my dark ages, from when I got out of it until present day, or more recently, I do remember seeing the cafe corner like as I walked by the Lego store and like Greengrocer and so forth and so forth. I remember seeing the UCS snow speeder and all that kind of stuff. So like I remember seeing all these cool sets as I was growing up. But the reason why I got, one of the official ways I got out of Lego was that before I went to Iraq, I put all my stuff into storage and I lost it all. So like it was one of my prized possessions, and it not really to the point where I'm like I'm gonna die without it. I was just sad that I lost my lot of stuff, all my memories and things like that. More concerned about my photos and yearbooks and like my birth certificate, stuff like that. So when I think of Lego, so when I think of my older Lego, I think of my storage unit that I lost. So it always brought back bad memories of that. So I never really got back into it. But I always had a like a fondness of seeing the modulars because I loved my small town that I had, which I put underneath my bed. So like, but so one day I was just like, you know what? I have a son. Maybe we can build this together, as a lot of other fathers use as an excuse, which my son was 1, so that wasn't gonna happen. But I ended up buying or he wasn't even 1 yet, but I ended up buying both. I built them like within 2 or 3 days, and then I was hooked. So then from there I bought whatever was available at the time, so which wasn't much. It was like, what was a new one? It was like Bricklink Detective's Office. But I started going backwards. I started getting sets like at with that recently retired. So I picked up all those, and then I went like hardcore all the way back.
No, so now what was the pricing like back then on those? Because I feel like, and of course recency bias, all that jazz, the resale market unsurprisingly has skyrocketed. Was it as bad back then?
No, it was
it
not.
Even close? What were the markups, or were there markdowns?
So
post retirement,
I guess the best way to do it is like how I did it. So I was getting, so this is before I knew what Bricklink was, before I went on eBay. I bought brand new retired Lego sets on Amazon. So I got like reamed. But if I think about the pricing of how much I overpaid, it was only like $20 more than I would have gotten out Bricklink. So it wasn't really that bad. Whereas today, if you do the same thing, you would be reamed as far as what you're able to obtain. So it wasn't that bad. Not at all. Look, I got like after getting all the modules that were available until 2018, I got all the modulars. I was like, let me go back to get the original 3. So Market Street, Cafe Corner, and Greengrocer. I bought Greengrocer and Cafe Corner for $300 each.
What?
Yeah, not really brand new, used, but in pristine condition.
It's like 99% or 100% complete.
It was 100% complete. No, there was like one piece off Greengrocer that was off, but aside from that, perfect. So I recently, within this past year, obtained Market Street used, and that was like $750. So a $70 set when it released costs $700. Way
That's
past
absurd.
It's crazy. Whereas Cafe Corner and Greengrocer, yes, they're really expensive, but used aftermarket, it's not so bad, like $800-900, as opposed to brand new in a box like $3,000-4,000. But that I feel like the pricing buying in the aftermarket exploded during COVID.
Yeah, I mean,
that's when it started going up.
Everyone was getting back into it. Everyone was kind of what you had in 2017 that was happening to people in 2020, 21, 22. And they're like, wow, look at all these amazing sets that I missed. I need to buy them now. And it costs simple supply and demand, more or less. So no, that's interesting. And even kind of on the flip side, when I was getting back out of my dark ages in 14 and 15 in college, actually, pretty much the Force Awakens may have been a catalyst for me getting back into it, sort of, because of a couple of those Star Wars sets, and then I remember stuff like the Kenobi Starfighter, and I was sort of buying on eBay back then. So I think it retailed for $25 or $30, so I'd get it for like $16 or $17. So stuff like that, where it's like, oh yeah, I'm saving money. It's cheaper, but yeah, no, it's crazy how things have
No,
definitely
things have
changed
definitely
since then.
changed since then. That's for
Oh
sure. The
my word.
aftermarket, what Lego owns, Bricklink.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, a lot of things have changed since then.
So then, when did you get into the online community aspect of things? Because I feel like that's, like me, like many other people, that's kind of the next step of the AFOL journey, is kind of getting into the online community. What was that like?
So I got onto it fairly quickly. Um, so I was already on YouTube. I posted, not necessarily had a channel, like I didn't really care. I had like my
Mm-hmm.
own personal channel, but it really wasn't anything. I was just posting like stuff for like the military that I experienced, like I just upload videos so my family and friends can see what we did over there. And I posted some dance videos and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
that channel has been around since the beginning of YouTube. But it wasn't, I never took it seriously. I mean, I still don't even take my current one seriously anyways, but but that was like, I'm not brand, that was no brand, it was just like shy, that's all it was. Had my real name on there, it was pretty bad. But so I was still a freaking watcher, or yeah, freaking person on YouTube watching stuff like that. So it really was a quick thing for me to like dive into, not necessarily being forward facing like this, but
Yeah.
I was starting to watch Lego people. So I would type in Lego and see what popped up. And I remember back then when I started kind of, there was also like a gap from when I bought Lego to when I actually, let's look at what's on YouTube. There was like probably a year and a half before I actually got into like discovering what was on here. Because I really only looked at YouTube for like other things. Like I watched vlogs and I watched like, how-tos and stuff like that back then. But I never really typed it in, or military stuff and things like that. But like, I never really thought to type in Lego for quite some time. And when I finally did, I remember, if anyone here can remember this, I know Tyler probably can, but Ryan MNR was doing like weekly news videos. Like he was dressed up in his Hawaiian t-shirt or button down and like talking like he was a news reporter about what's going on in the Lego world at that point. So that was like my introduction, not necessarily my introduction. So that was what I discovered, like Lego YouTube. But what the creator that brought me to the Lego side was Bricklink. Okay. So if anyone remembers Greg Bricklink, he's still around. He still does his thing, but I followed him on his like other channel, his Greg's World channel. So his vlogging, like I remember seeing like, when his son was little, like probably like you were baby, I think I remember that point. So he finally said he has a Lego channel, and then I jumped onto the Lego world, and then boom, I discovered all these things. So it was like M&R, Bricklink, that's when I discovered Brickzar, and then all the posse around those people. And then what was the eventually I discovered like the AFOL streamers. Like all they do is like have like little group chats, and they still do it to this day. It's not really show focused, they're just kind of building and talking. So
Interesting.
if TJ's here, he knows exactly what that means, or that was Mayo for sure. Mayo, you know exactly what I'm talking about. He's been doing this Lego YouTube game for a long time. So that was how it was. And then COVID happened, and that really flipped a lot of things. You got to see a lot more creators just come out of nowhere. That's when you started seeing more Hangouts. So you started seeing a lot of Hangouts that like it went from Google Hangouts to eventually it went to StreamYards, because like Google Hangouts just ended. And then so you would have like these like Brick Hive, like he had like what then now turned into Good Morning Brick World or Pure Rant Fury. He would just have all of us just streaming on his channel. He was like the hangout room. So like you would see like Ryan, myself, Emily, Sans, Claire, like everybody would just go on there on a Friday. If there was room on the panel, like because there's only 9. So if there was room, you would just go in there. So everybody would stream like that. And then slowly but surely, like people would kind of fine tune these hangouts. So they started becoming more regular shows. And then that's when you start getting segments, and that's when you started getting like, what Good Morning Brick was today, what London Calling is today, what a couple of Brickheads eventually happened, shows like that. There were other ones out there that fell through, but that's when you started to see that the beginning of that era. And even Ryan had one too. He had his podcast with Just Too Good and Bricklink too, and he would have a rotating guest every week, and I was fortunate to be on 2 of those. And Lego didn't like that I was on one of them. So, but
do we need to dig into that one?
Yeah, you can.
Have
You
we
can.
found a
It was
little
totally
nugget?
fine. You can. I mean, you can't find these episodes anywhere.
Yeah.
But that's how I got, into talking to Ryan was thanks to BFAB, like brother from another brick. Like he had like a weekly or no. Let me just turn on and let me go online and everyone can hang out. So he got me on there, and that's how I met Ryan and came on his show a couple times, and then created a YouTube channel from that. So I got a shout out to Greg for telling anybody that can make a YouTube channel. So I made a Lego one, and that's how I grew from that. I never really took it seriously. I just kind of posted. I mean, I care about what I post. So I'll post something that I like. But that's where I'm at this point.
Did you have a big break moment? Was there one video that did well, or
not really
that happened, or it's just been kind of slow, steady growth?
It's been a slow, steady growth ever since. As far as like what I post up, I think my quality has definitely changed since then. It's pretty. Please don't go back in time. But I was definitely fascinated about what I can make. I always loved filming stuff, but not like for YouTube. Like I always had a camera in my hand, so I'd always make videos, but they're more like videos, like real videos. So definitely not the same type of formatting for a proper YouTube video. It's definitely a lot of storytelling and a lot of visual, like, oh, I need to get this shot, and this shot's gonna get me killed because I'm hanging on top of a building flipping upside down. So like that type of thing. So that's so I figured I love making videos. I've done it before, like in Afghanistan and Iraq. I filmed a lot, which pissed off a lot of people with power, but was definitely really appreciated when it was over, because like we get the question.
Sure.
One, two, I remember from my first time going into Iraq, everyone will ask you the same questions, right? How was it? What'd you do? Did you hurt anybody? Blah, 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 blah. The same kind of questions. So in Afghanistan, I already knew what I was going to do. Because in Iraq, what I did, I would make these segments of like our time. So like, every 2 months I made a new video and I gave it to my platoon, and then they would send it home to their families and see how we're doing. Right. And then occasionally I'd like I'll film like this is off a camcorder, by the way. So I'd give them say whatever you want to say to your family, and then I'll send it home to them. So in Afghanistan, I made like this montage moto video that you see a lot of Marine units do. So I made it for like my platoon, my battery, and then I just told my Marines and everyone in my battery that like a battery is an artillery company. I told everybody, like, if anybody asks you these questions, just show them this, and you don't have to answer the questions. Because when we were in Afghanistan, we actually were pretty hardcore with what our job. Iraq, we were just pissing people off, but not so much. Afghanistan, we were doing like real things. So I'm like, just show them this video. You don't have to talk, and that's it. I already knew I was going to do something with film. I just didn't know what. And then YouTube kind of gave me that fix. So I just kind of, I guess, taking it seriously as far as what I'm putting out. That definitely switched somewhere more recently than in the beginning. So, but I can't pinpoint the exact time of when that happened.
Did you have any, I guess, like educational training on video making, or has it all just been picking
YouTube?
Up what you picked up, watching YouTube videos, stuff like
YouTube videos? I mean, so to be fair, YouTube videos, yes, where I actually started paying attention. But I was always being from LA, I'm around a lot of people that's in the industry, whereas editing, being in front of the camera, behind the camera, or music videos, or being in music. So I see a lot of it. Sometimes I'll be like an extra in something, especially with my motorcycle skills. So like they'll hey, we need a biker, can you just like do some stuff, pretend you're this person? So I'll do a lot of fill-ins and stuff like that. So I'll be like a kind of a talent, I guess, in a way, but not really the talent. Like I wasn't an actor or anything like that. So I would see what it's
IMDb creds?
No, I don't. No. I refuse to put any of that. A lot of them were like small projects from when we were younger. So now a lot of these people are doing like serious things, and I'm happy for all of them. I can see where they're succeeding. But I got a lot of behind the scenes experiences about like what kind of cameras they're using, what's the proper way of like speaking when like on a shoot, like hearing the sound first, making sure the sound's good, make sure the rolling's good, make sure the camera's good, then action, right? And then I just see the process. So I've always been around that. So with that type of first-hand experience, just kind of being from the side, it did kind of prepare me for, what you would see would happen. Like if I would record a sitting on a stoop video, like you will see it. Like if you're sitting in front of me, we're doing sitting on a stoop, I will look at all three cameras and be like, rolling. I'm looking for the red light, so it's that camera's rolling, that camera's rolling, that camera's rolling, and then sound where sound is good, hit record, we're gold, and action, like that type of spiel. Like when I'm filming stuff for my motorcycle club, then same thing. I'm doing like action, cut. Like I'm doing those type of things. Just not necessarily mean because I was trained to do that. It's just that's what I was around and what I picked up, and that's just become a force of habit. So whenever I shoot stuff for music videos, that's the kind of process I went through. I don't know if I'm actually doing it right, but that's just been my means.
Yeah. So All Out Brick is asking a good question, and he's like, I know you've answered this several times. To people that are starting to get into YouTube. All Out Brick, he's a total gearhead when it comes to this kind of stuff. So I don't know if you've seen any of his videos.
Yeah,
but he
yeah,
does a lot of high quality. So he's not asking from a place of like, yeah, I'm thinking about. He's just more just curious what you're working with.
He's one I want to work with. So right now I work with like 2 A6s and then A6 400 and 100. I am in the market for an A7 and a Z, and my B-roll camera I use that kind of just shoot around, bring everywhere, is a ZV E10. I'm recording off of a Rodecaster for my podcast, which I also use for my audio, onto this Rode mic. So is it a Rode mic? Is that what I'm using?
I wasn't sure.
No, it's a Shure mic. Sorry, I'm Shure mic. My Rode mics I do have packed away for the podcast. Sorry. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And then the Sigma lenses, obviously, to get that blur. But very basic setup. But buying 3 of them was no easy feat on its own.
Yeah, that is I've talked to Firebird about cameras some, and myself trying to just up the ante a little bit. And I grabbed the ZV-E10 as well. So it's a solid little thing. I mean, it gets
it gets what you need. You do everything on it.
You can scale it some with dropping same or more what you paid for the camera. You can drop it on a lens as well.
Lenses, oh my gosh, that's like you're buying a second camera off of all that. So buying all that tech just for the podcast. So Stud Lake says, when's the next SOS dropping or sauce dropping? So the next 2 episodes, so I am like 9 episodes in right now. So I've like halted recording any new ones after December. So just because I need to get these out, and some of these episodes have been recorded since like March. Wow. So there's 3 left that, total team Sony. Hardcore. I tell everybody, if we're going to record anything, Sony. If it's a video, do it for Sony.
Yeah, it seems like Sony has really taken over in the last couple of
2
years.
3 years. Well, I mean, I think it's also the economy behind the gear, because there's all the lenses are interchangeable. Once you have one, you can continue using the gear that you bought for the last one, and your Sony that you have doesn't really drop so much in value, so you could technically sell a used for a decent price for what you got it for. So it's and the product of what you're getting is phenomenal. You can kind of see what everyone's using, so it wouldn't be great if people weren't using it. But to go back to the sauce thing, I have like 3 episodes that I still have left from Chicago, breaking up Brad, Stud City, which is the hardcore dated at this point. And then I still got like 2 from Brick Mania that I recorded in March. The one I'm working on right now is a BAM. Like, he's not even on social media, but I interviewed a BAM store owner, which I wanted, the basic questions like, do you think this is gonna last? Is it a bad thing that there's so many of y'all here? Those types of questions, and amongst other recordings as well, that I'm like, I need to get these out. But also on the other side of it is that my laptop was like starting to glitch up a little bit. It was like a 5-6 year old MacBook Pro, and you can tell it's definitely aging out, especially with all the updates. So I recently, as in like 3 days ago, bought a new MacBook Pro just because my last one kind of decided to not work anymore.
Kicks the bucket finally.
There's like $5,000 right there. So there goes my A7 money. That's where I was gonna go. I was gonna get two A7s. I was planning on getting 2 A7s and 2 lenses. That would have been
a pretty penny.
Yeah, well, not anymore. That's it.
No,
I gotta wait.
Now you have a MacBook. But So with the first podcast, as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream before I brought you on, that I came into the community basically on the tail end of Cali Bricklink. So I know next to nothing. I haven't yet gone back and rewatched some of those episodes. But like, when did that start? How long did that run for? And what was the overall kind of vibe of that podcast?
Oh man, Cali Bricklink. I miss Cali Bricklink. Just to say it out loud, like I do miss like kicking it with Ninja and Claire every week. That was like our weekly check-in. We don't talk as much as like all together. It's been we have as a three-way. We haven't spoken together since the last episode. All at once. Yeah. And there was a point where we all lived in California. Obviously that's not the case anymore, but I do miss that. As far as what it came from, I was influenced by Ryan with his podcast. When his podcast ended, like in I guess abruptly beginning of COVID, there was like a void because it was like there wasn't a show like every Sunday that would immediately pop out. They were just live streams and they weren't really like harnessed shows yet. They were starting to build up, like London Calling was starting to do that. And then inevitably Good Morning Brick World, but there wasn't like a set podcast like feel where there was 4 people with an intention of a conversation, right? They were just like hanging out. So I figured, well, let me fill that role, and because I know people missed it. So then I got Claire, who I discovered pretty much talking trash in Ryan's other podcast that he had in, during COVID. Nice. And I'm like, who is this chick? Like, she just popped out of nowhere. I didn't even know she was a lady yet. I was just, who's this person? Like, I mean, I agree with everything she's saying, so it's kind of interesting. And then we eventually kind of hung out like on stream, like behind the like streams, like what we used to do. And then I was like, oh, let me just ask if she wants to be on this. So, but before that, like BFAB and I were going to start a podcast, and we technically asked Emily to join us. And I'm like, hey, we should probably ask Emily before she blows up, because this is back when she had like 2,000 subscribers, not even like 700, like just barely 1,000 maybe. I'm like, I bet you $5 she's gonna blow up. And then, well, she did, but I don't. BFAB kind of dropped the ball on that one. I'm calling you out, bro, because I was telling to get on it, and I was just like, I'm just going to do my own thing. So I got Ninja, who is, he's local to me. I'm friends with the dude, and I trust him. And then Claire. So with them two, we started Cali Bricklink, and the first 10 episodes were just us kind of figuring out our vibe. So we're kind of talking, regrettably so, politics. I mean, it wasn't the focus of it. It was just like, like the first episode, like, you're talking about your backlog, you're talking about like, all these random things about being a Lego fan. And then a couple times though, we got into politics because that was, what happened back in 2020.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would have guessed then that it was 2020 when a lot of political stuff was going on.
If you can remember that time frame, what was happening. But like, eventually we kind of ran to a little stalemate with, okay, we can only talk to each other for so much. We need probably start bringing people on. And then we started with Cafe Corner, if anyone remembers CC, and then Brick Hive. I think those were our first 2 guests. And then from then on, we just started lining up people that we knew.
Yeah.
Like if we knew you were friends with us, we're gonna bring you on.
Yeah.
And we started doing that. And then we were like, okay, we ran out of people. Let me start asking people to come on. Friends of friends. We started venturing out a little bit.
Yep.
And then we started getting to like people I had no idea who you were. And Caleb was one of those people. Like Firebird at the time, he reached out, and that was, again, he was 1,000 subscribers maybe at that point, but I didn't know him yet. Like I didn't know Caleb that well. Like this is the first time he communicated was him talking about Cali Bricklink. I'm like, hold on, dude, let me vet you out, because I had like a vetting process. Like I want to see what you're about. I want to hear you talk. And because one of the things that I worry about is, how are you gonna be able to communicate?
Exactly.
Because I've interviewed people that I wanted to interview before, and a lot of the times they're not YouTubers or anyone on social media. They're like Brickmania people or like third-party custom people. So they were just not lively. They had a lot of filler words. Like after every sentence, it was kind of annoying to edit out. So I wanted to see what you're about. Plus, I kind of vetted a little bit, like, what are you about? Like, are you gonna like cancel us later? Like, those type of things, yeah, that I'm gonna regret. So, eventually, I reached back out to Caleb, I'm like, hey, come, dude, I want you on, dude. You're sick. I like what you're doing. And then he was on. So we had a lot of those who we're now friends with, like good friends with going forward. So, but eventually, that it started away because what would happen is that we would record it Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, or Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday. That was like the goal, no later than Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I would have to drop the episode by Friday. So I started gaining, I would start to have rules as I progress. And I'm starting to do that now with Sauce, but I'm kind of more laxed about it. But like I would always change something. So like before, if there was like more than a second and a half gap, it was cut out. Like if someone left the screen, like that's when I started like camera A, camera B, camera seeing, like closing up on the screens. Cause if someone like, just stepped off, the camera for a second, like if I were to stand up right now, you would see my backside, and it wouldn't look good. Like it would look like you don't care about the conversation, stuff like that. So I would cut those stuff out. I would rearrange how the conversation went sometimes, because sometimes we would go to like C, you're talking about the topic C, when that should probably be over here, and it'll just flow better. So I would do a lot of
That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. And were you playing a lot of it back? It just sounded choppy, and I didn't really hone it up until like probably the last 10 episodes, which then, led to sitting on a stoop and how I do that. But if you go backwards, you can see a lot of that choppiness, which I didn't like. So that kind of, 3 years of that, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. Cause when did we stop that? Like last year, like a year, almost 2 years ago at this point.
Yeah. I think it was 23.
Yeah. 2020. Oh gosh. Yeah. So, it was a thing though. It was a weekly expected thing that people looked forward to, because I looked forward that, especially during COVID times, was, that weekly check-in from all these shows. And when I lost Ryan's podcast, there was something empty inside. So it was cool to see like what we have now. Like we had this show on this day, this show on this day, this show on this day. And you could always tune in to see what was happening. And luckily now you can tune into one, you can kind of give a gist about what's happening in Lego at that point, but back then not really. So it was starting to harness in what the community is today and what you're starting to see with other shows and other podcasts. So eventually Cali Bricklink was starting to weigh down on myself and Claire. I'm not so much about Ninja, but I couldn't really tell. He was just there. Like Ninja, when he said something, it meant something. So but for Claire and I, we were like starting to like kind of lose it, not against each other, just kind of getting tired doing this on a weekly basis. So for myself, I was just like, having to work full time, have like have my family, and then having to do a podcast every week. Like my Wednesday, Thursday, I didn't sleep. Like I would, as soon as I was done on work, I was editing until I had to go to work next day, so that would drop by Friday. So that was just starting to weigh on my own channel, because I wasn't really posting on my own channel. Well, the quality was kind of crap. So like Claire just finally said, I think I'm done. And I'm like, oh, thank God.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much.
I wasn't going to end it. Like I was going to maybe talk about, sunsetting the podcast in January to make 3 years clean. Like we did 3. Let's end it. But she kind of, prematurely wanted to end it. And I was grateful for that. Yeah. And I already had, a list of people that we were going to bring on that we're committed to. But I also had like 2 months worth of people that I wanted to reach out to come on Cali Bricklink, and one of them was Tyler. Tyler was like probably one of the people that I think I asked that we kind of cemented, but it was kind of a little far out. So he was technically going to be one of the last episodes, and then that was pretty much that. And then for a little bit, like it was a good way. Cali Bricklink was an end. And I remember everyone saying how much they missed it and how much it meant to them. And when I'm at conventions, like even till this day, like more people like to come up to me about Cali Bricklink or sitting on a stoop than my own channel. So, which is kind of funny, but it makes sense, because those who are tuning in to something that's an hour and a half to 2 hours long,
it's personal. in
it's
many
personal,
ways. Yeah.
and that's technically your core audience from your other channel or what you're already doing. So they're there to hear you talk. They're there to hear what you have to say. They're here to, just for that comfort of that voice, because that's what I tune into your podcast or anyone else's, that all my friends out, all their own shows. I just play it because it keeps me calm when I'm working, and I feel like I'm not alone.
Yeah.
So
That's very
like.
true.
So I didn't really realize it, but I was that for many other people within the Lego community. So after Cali Bricklink was over, like I was just like, I want to continue this, but I want it to be on my own time, on my own dime, with my own rules, and not having to schedule 4 people to try to come on the show. So I figured, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, and what you did with that is you took the podcast, because I mean, the time commitment was a lot, like you in the editing, but now arguably the time commitment, it's not just time, like time times 5 plus money times whatever, a plane ticket or time off work, I imagine, is what that turns into as well, and just all that stuff.
It could be. I'm not there yet, but as far as most of what you just said, yes, right. There's gonna be a point where I'll be like, you know what? I'm gonna fly to Michigan. So, just be like, and start reaching out to those, creators out there and be like, hey, do you have time on this? And I've already done it once, and that was to Austin. I reached out to all those people down there, and I'm like, hey, can I record this one weekend? Come in, record, and split. That's exactly what I did. As long as I'm able to record enough and put enough in the backlog, I can keep it going as long as I need to.
Oh yeah.
And I think I did that too well. Because I don't have time to drop the 9 episodes like that I have to do right now before the end of the year. Like, that's not gonna happen. But luckily that I'm always gonna have the opportunity to be able to record somewhere, whether that be at a convention where I can knock out 2 or 3 people. Like, the thing is, like at Brickworld Chicago this past year, I could have knocked out 20 episodes if I really wanted to. But realistically, I only recorded 6. And I'm not even done releasing all 6. So
yeah, probably was the good call on many fronts of just the time. I mean, 20 multiplied by 1 hour. Well, you and I both know it's not just 1 hour.
It's not
probably at least 2.5. Setting up in every different location wherever you chose to be. Even in my own desk here, in my own setup, every time is at least 15 minutes of, all right, walk around, mess with it. Okay, this light needs to be a little, it's never the same, even in your own. I don't know, have you gotten to a point where, like, the lighting is your light, your main light, in the same spot every time?
If it's in the room, yes. Anywhere else? Oh my God. So all the episodes so far, none have been perfect. Like, just because I'm working with different spaces, different colors, different backgrounds, like I like to use the Emily version or Emily episode as a perfect learning curve for me as far as lighting, right? I didn't really put into account skin tone. So Emily and I'm brown, she's white, right? But she had a white background. So when I'm figuring out the ISO, figuring out the colors on my own cameras, I didn't really adjust it like I should have. The problem in post, it wasn't so much that she's white and I'm brown, is that on cameras amongst themselves, I can fix that in post. Like, I could warm her up a little bit so that way she can stick out a little bit. I can cool myself down so I don't stick out like I'm orange or whatever. It was when I put them together. So when I had the shot when we were both in it, that's like the issue with like having us 3 different colors. So I need to get it right the first time. So that way fixing it in post is just not going to work. But learning that, it took how many episodes till I got to that point? Like,
9.
Yeah, exactly, 9 episodes. But like, I've already recorded a bunch of other ones. Like for Jeans, another one. Like, she's all sweaty, but she's not really sweaty. It's just she needed to put powder on. So like learning things like that I should know when it comes to like video recording. It's just like I need to remember these things every time I go. So now it takes the setup process even longer than it did before, as opposed to like, set it up, hit, record, not blurry, recording, let's go. Now it's just like, okay, move, change the settings,
even with what the subject is wearing, like,
oh my gosh, white, black,
if I were to wear a black hoodie, I would look like, well, I'm already pale, but I would look 3 times as pale as I do now. So that's typically why I'll wear like a blue, very rarely red, but like, I mean, I have a couple black shirts that I like, but I typically can't wear them just because I'll have to redo the lighting. I haven't messed too much, or I should say at all, with the camera settings on this one. So I'll just kind of stick with the auto, and whatever it does, I'll mainly just mess with the lighting here. But yeah, there's so many.
But that's just one camera, right? So imagine doing like 3 of them and then trying to get the sound right. So like the one I'm doing right now, and it's bothering me so much, like the one I'm editing that's just taking me so long, is that the subject, which is his camera, he's blurry because his wife is also in the screen, or in the shot. So the camera kept focusing on her.
The dual focus,
yeah. So I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. So now I know, don't put 2 people that are kind of distance from each other. So those type of learning curves is definitely one to note when I go forward. But it's been a fun process so far with that, and I'm taking the rules that I've implemented with with Cali Bricklink and removing it from you doing the same thing on sitting on a stoop. So whereas before I would cut out the 1.5 seconds of dead air, now I don't do that. Now I embrace the silence, like, because sometimes it needs to be emphasized, like whatever just to add dynamic effect of what's happening. Like sometimes I'll leave like the swear words or the things that obviously something needs to be, you can cancel somebody out for it. I'll be like, let me take this out.
Yeah, for real.
But
just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. But like I embrace the humanity in the conversation, so that's why I've been enjoying it. It's actually been a lot easier to edit than it was before, but I'm definitely 100% loving the process.
So what's your just high level edit time? 3 hours, 5 hours for any given episode?
It takes me 2.5 hours for 15 minutes.
I thought you were gonna say 2.5 hours for the whole thing. I was gonna be like, oh, that's
2.5 hours, 15 minutes. Yeah, I mean, it's not hard. It's just tedious. It's like, it's not like my regular channel video. It's like where I'm looking for B-roll and I'm trying to do all these things to keep people's attentions, or retentions. This, I'm not focused on retention, not at all. Like if you're showing up to a sitting, it's just for, well, it's not only that, is that if you're coming in for a podcast or for a show, you're there for a long run anyways, because you already know you're coming in for this long conversation. It really just depends on what you're talking about. That's going to keep people from leaving or not. And again, I've said this millions of times before. I look at the amphitheater aspect of a podcast, right? You have 50 people listening to the whole 2-hour speech versus 100,000 people listening to 5 seconds of it and leading. Like, I'm down for the 50 people that are listening to this whole thing. That's a lot of people. Think about if it's 1,000 people are watching from A to B, you filled up an entire amphitheater or entire theater of people listening to every single word you're saying. That's kind of crazy. Like, you look at the numbers of it. Yeah, it's like 2,000-3,000 people listening to it, but they listen to like 80% of the conversation. Like, the retention rate's ridiculous. So it's like, oh, okay, there's people really listening to it. Obviously, it's not 5 minutes long, but if you're listening to 80 minutes out of the 120 minutes out of it, that's a lot of time that people are dedicating to it. So I'm just thinking about it like that, it makes it worth doing.
Absolutely. No, that's a really good way to look at it, and to remember the real scale, because it's really easy to compare. I mean, I'm sure for you it's even easy to compare to Cali Bricklink and say, well, I'm not quite hitting there yet. I mean, and even I guess I shouldn't really even say that, because some of your numbers are in different videos of Sauce are really hitting, really doing really well. But do you have any expectations moving for that? Or because I know, are you an analytics guy for the YouTube analytics? Do you live in that studio?
I pay attention to it. I live it. I look at it. I pay attention when it comes to my stuff. As far as like how I'm editing. I mean, I know, like, if I were to quit my day job tomorrow, I know what I have to do, like to grow, right? So, but I don't want to do a lot of that because I just don't want to stress myself out on something that I love doing. Does that make sense? Like, if this became if this became a job to me, then why am I here? I go to this to escape. Yeah,
to escape the work, escape the daily.
Exactly. So I already knew if I were to do this on my own channel, if I were to start, like, if I was to do this full time, I'm splitting my channel up even more. Like city, army videos, everything else. Like, I'll be doing that thing. I'll be doing the kind of more focused on the younger audience type of spiel. Like, I probably might go the TD route. Like, I will do all those types of things, but because that's money's now dependent upon for me to survive, because now I'm not thinking about just myself. I have mouths to feed. So that would be my main motivator. But because I don't want to focus on that and I don't enjoy doing that, I just post when I have something to post and something to say. But when it comes to sauce, that's kind of a different story. Like that's something I kind of want to take seriously, but on my own time, because I don't have so much time. Like sauce is one of the reasons why Lego started paying attention to me finally.
Really?
Yeah.
So that can kind of transition really well into our next talking point with LAN and getting into that. And most of us here probably know the story, some of the background of you working at Lego and that whole unfortunate situation, and then kind of this full circle moment with finding out you were in LAN at Brick World Chicago, and Stud Lake pulls no punches. Getting back in, or getting in connection.
Hey, it's
with
true.
Lego again.
It's all good. You can call me a shill all you want. It makes sense.
So I'm
part of Shill Squad.
I didn't know that sitting on a stoop was one of the stepping stones to get to that point. And did you learn that after the fact, or was that kind of the way?
I learned. I definitely mentioned it. It wasn't the focal point of my application, but it was definitely mentioned. I didn't know it was something that Lego paid attention to until after I was already in, and kind of in Chicago, where Jose, which is one of the he's not a part of LAN, he's a part of adult marketing. He's a different part of that group, the head. There are people within that area who know and watch sitting on a stoop. Go figure.
That's
so
crazy.
there are people in Lego already watching the content, and just having that vetting process already kind of checked off definitely helped. So, I don't know if there was a sole basis of what it is. I mean, I did, again, like I like to shout out the fact that I did make it about the veteran thing pretty heavy, that there is no representation of it and all that kind of stuff. And I gave them numbers of how many people are, that use this brick and how that benefits them and all that kind of stuff, and what it truly means to wear the hat. I'm not showing off that I went to war. It's a beacon for other veterans like myself to come out this way if you're, alone in that aspect. So once I explained all that, and also based on the content that I've been doing, because I've applied 3 times, this one being the 3rd time though. If you look at my channel, how it was the 2nd time I posted, there's variety of other Lego stuff, but it was primarily still focused on Brickmania and other custom companies. If you look at the 1st time I posted, it was all that. So you can see where it kind of changed up a little bit now in comparison to those other 2 times. And I have other places to kind of show off my number, especially, I also use Cali Bricklink as another example. Like this is the kind of work that I can do.
Oh yeah.
So I think that was a big factor of why they said yes. But yes, definitely a land shill. I will definitely you can definitely call me that. I understand.
And you've had a couple of really cool opportunities even in the last couple months, being a part of it. Was it getting just hitting the ground running because you kind of a lot of those people already? Maybe even in Lego, were you already familiar with some of the people and the LAN marketing team, or was that aspect?
No, I didn't know anyone in LAN. I know who they were. Like I did meet Jordan at Brick. Oh my gosh, why did I just forget? Why did I just forget Utah's
Brick Slopes?
Oh my God, Brick Slopes. Yeah, I met him at Brick Slopes. I just forgot. Sorry, Cody. At Brick Slopes. So I met him then. He didn't really know who I was. I didn't introduce him to like, hey, I'm Shy Type, it's my type. No, it was just like, hey, what's up, dude? Want a drink? That's pretty much it. We're just hanging in the back, just having fun with everybody else. Kind of bring him in because it was kind of like to himself, isolated. I was trying to bring him in. Let's have fun with everybody. But for the most part, I didn't know anybody. Like only other LAN people I knew were other creators. So like when Sarah came up to me at Brick World, like I didn't know she was Sarah. Like I didn't know who she was. I didn't know she was a part of LAN. The only thing that kind of gave it away was that she was wearing a Lego polo tee. So I knew you worked for Lego, but I knew who you were. But yeah, I didn't know anyone when it came to it.
Interesting. So yeah, I guess, and I guess some people can kind of think it's like an inside job of who gets in or who doesn't, or kind of that drama, but hey.
I mean, I could pretty much just go off of, my experience of, reciting that all over again, if that kind of helps. So if anyone knows my story, TLDR, like 2019, I worked for Lego for a little bit, like just a tad second. I was a store manager at a local LA store, and I got termed because of decision making, whatever that means.
Yeah.
Mainly because I had social media, or I mean, if you look at what I was posting back then, it was like nothing. I'm posting vlogs with my family and friends, but I think having connections to like people like Ryan and other people in the Lego space was a big question mark, especially with being a store manager, right? But I've done nothing to show that I'm leaking anything or anything. It's not my thing. So, and I don't even show leaks today. So like,
that's true.
It's I don't talk about leaks. I never really make news videos or anything like that. But so fast forward. So anyways, that put me in a world of hurt. I was going to therapy at the time for decision making for what happened to me in Afghanistan. So to be termed for decision making, that was a dark time in my life. So I always had this grudge against Lego. I had maybe an ounce to want to do something legally to it, but I love the company too much. I don't blame the actions of people to the whole company. I just blame the actions of those people. So I just kind of left it alone. I love the Lego space. That's why I remained in the Lego sphere. And I just kind of maintained my status quo going forward without really getting too angry, as one might be in that same stance.
It'd be
but
easy to be angry.
Yeah, definitely easy. But I discovered custom military Lego stuff, and that's pretty much where my niche was at the time. Kind of bringing it that way. But fast forwarding, I applied once, didn't get in. Applied twice, didn't get in, and I finally applied last January before Brickworld, or this past January before Brickworld, after Fred's episode, Pan Fred Noodles. We were discussing how I truly felt and what happened to me with Lego. And if you don't remember, I remember you remember it. I remember your comments and what you were talking about. But if anyone wants a very descriptive what happened to me, go to episode 4 of Sitting on a Stoop featuring Pan Fred Noodle, and we talk about how I truly felt about all of that. So afterwards, after this talking to Fred and how his whole idea of maybe that I'm just not what they want right now, I said, well, let me apply right now. And then kind of just give them, everything how I truly feel about this whole process. So what I wrote to them was from the heart. It wasn't I want free Lego sets. This is what I am. This is
that
what
was a true switch
different.
up to the previous two submissions.
Exactly. Total. Yeah. The first two applications was pretty generic as far as what I think everybody else is writing. But the third one, it was like, no, I'm not, no hands down. Like, I'm not holding anything behind my back. I'm a veteran. These are how many veterans, you have 16 point something million veterans at any given time. This many people commit suicide every single time. These are different avenues which Lego can help that. These are my numbers of how many, if you look at every video, you'll see someone saying, thank you for your service, or I am a part of this, this unit or whatever, or my mom or dad or brother, whatever it is. So there's definitely an audience there for it. You're not showing it, is you don't do the military Lego. So you're technically ostracizing a whole people with money. We have money, so you're kind of pushing them away. What are you gonna do about it? So, it was kind of professionally rant. It was definitely tactful. And then, I also brought up other things like Cali Bricklink, where I'm at with the community. Here are some of the videos that can kind of showcase collabs, what I do with other people. To showcase I'm not, for lack of a better word, an a-hole. What I've done for the community, what people can, that was the big part, is showing that what I can do for the community and what I've already done thus far. I think that was the big push for that. And then that was it. I didn't expect to get a reply. I didn't think I was going to get in. And then fast forward to Brickworld Chicago, this lady comes up to me in a polo shirt saying, "Hey, Shy." I'm like, "Hi," just being my normal self, not knowing who you are, but still trying to be polite. And first thing she says to me was, "I just finished reviewing your channel. My name is Sarah." And I'm like, "Oh," and then, kind of pulling her to tell me if I got in or not. She kind of said, "Maybe." I'm like, what does that mean? So she kind of alluded to yes. And then, I told the shills that were there, And then I was inducted into the shill squad because we all said it. You're Shy's now shill, 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 shill. So I was in the car with Emily, Tiago, and Ross, and we were just yelling shill squad out loud.
You have to. I mean, isn't it part of the initiation?
Yeah, it's a part of it. It's a part of it.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I said on there pretty heavily was I don't want to do Lego reviews. That's just not my thing. I don't like doing reviews. Mm-hmm. So please don't send me Lego sets. Yeah. I straight up said that on the application and on my initial orientation with the people in LAN. And what I really wanted out of it was simply access to not only Lego designers and people within the Lego group, but opportunities to go to events where I could do this at a Lego event with people that I wouldn't normally have the opportunity to having a one-on-one conversation. That's what I really wanted out of it. Yeah. And so far it's kind of worked. So go figure.
No, it sounds like it's working really well so far. And I mean, one of the videos or one of the comments, StarMax says, Shy's LAN videos are so good. Loved his pro community approach. And I'm sure you are very aware to the feedback that you've received thus far, and kind of how does that feel with more or less your approach being validated by the community and the community being essentially all about that?
Well, yeah. Well, one, I'm entirely grateful for it, and I'm happy that it was well received. Because that was one of the worries that I mean, I know a lot of LAN people think the same way. Is just how they're going to look when they post a review video. I mean, they are completely aware of how the community feels about Lego reviews. They're hands down. None of them are oblivious to it. So, but for a lot of them, this is their full-time gig. Reviews are quick and they're easy and they're guaranteed views. Whereas if you're trying to think outside the box, it's a hit or miss. So if your audience is more used to you doing reviews, doing an outside think of the box type of thing, it's a risk. And if views are your money, that's a risk that a lot of people are not willing to take, or it might not be worth it to take a chance on. For me, again, I have a full-time job. I can not that I want my town out to tank tomorrow, but I'm not dependent upon it. So I can afford to take that risk. And if on Cali Bricklink, Claire, myself, and Ninja, we've interviewed a number of LAN members, and we've had discussions with a lot of them about not doing review video content. And Cheesy Studios is one of those people who, we had a discussion about not doing review video. Like Caleb, I know him, not like Cheesy Caleb. I mean, also Fiber Caleb, but I know him for being a Lego master. I know him for building mocks. Showcase that, do that. So I figured if I ever told myself one day, if I ever go to LAN, I wouldn't do a review video. So the pressure when I finally got my first LAN review, I was like, oh my gosh, I am not a mock builder like these guys. What am I gonna do?
Yeah, so it sounds like you were racking your brain, really trying to figure out how long did that take you to really figure out what you were gonna do?
Actually,
couple days.
I actually thought about it immediately. Nice. When I realized I was late. No, it wasn't right away. I was still racking my brain with what I was gonna do. Because there's 2 dates you have to worry about. There's the day that you can show the set, and there's the day that you can show it when you release it. And oh my gosh, Harry saved me on this one, but because I didn't know there was 2 separate ones. Oh, shows how much I pay attention to orientation. But I'm the worst LAN member out there because I have to reread everything before I do something. But there's a day that you can open it and share it with the world, even if it's just an Instagram story. You can't just open that right away once the embargo lifts. So I already knew that I wasn't going to do a review video, so I didn't have to worry about showing it off the day after embargo day, or the day after review day. So I was like, what am I going to do? Well, when I saw everybody post their Instagram stories or Instagram posts of all those sets, I was like, oh crap, I'm already late. And then the next day people are showing off the bars. I'm like, oh, okay, now I really got to figure this out. So I was just like, let me just take it everywhere and build it and see what I can make out of it. So I brought my camera. I went to a number of places and just started recording. And the best part about it was when I was building at a bar, the amount of people just that wanted to build, I embraced that just kind of building with random people. And I already
Yeah.
do this alone with like veterans and stuff like that, but I
Yeah.
never filmed those. So those are like an intimate moment. And
Mm-hmm.
we that's like our special thing. But when it came to like outside public, I've never done it before. So it was kind of fun to do. So I was like, let me just do this and just kind of showcase it. And luckily for me, I was already going to be on 3 different show streams. Bricking with the Beards with, all those guys. I had London Calling with all those guys. And then ACOB. I'm like, well, let me talk about the set.
Content.
And I wasn't really talking to set. Let me just see what you guys thought. And then I kind of made it from the viewpoint of what the community thinks about the set. There's no point in me telling you about the set because you already know about the set. And apparently you don't care what I have to say anyways. So like it's because you think about it in a review, you look at what you're being fed by the LAN reviewer, and then you have all these comments that everyone wanting to say what they want to say. Well, then let me just put that in a LAN video and then make it towards where Lego eventually is going to see the video. So these are all things that the community said. So I'm like, jackpot, there you go. Now to do that every time, I don't know.
That's going to be tough.
That's a tough one. So my next LAN video, tanked hard. So I haven't even built that yet. If you can see it, it's still standing there. I don't know what I'm doing with it, but that's kind of the synopsis of how that video came about. And again, that was a risk that I could afford to take that I know not a lot of people that are within the LAN ambassador network can't.
Yeah,
so
because I think to that point, a lot of people have been comparing your video to, well, the rest of LAN, honestly, of like, they need to do it like that. And to your point, several of them are doing this for a full-time job and they need to put food on the table. So I would, as a part of this conversation, I would say that you would agree that no, you don't want necessarily to have your video compared to them. Is that fair?
I mean, I don't care. If you want to compare it, go for it. I mean, I think they're just 2 different avenues of doing this.
Yeah.
So we definitely need the reviewers. Like Tiago's reviews, phenomenal. That's, if you want to see a review, that's a good place to do it. He's going to tell you exactly how he feels about it. People don't give him that credit. Like people just think that he's a shill when people don't really they don't watch this whole video where he's criticizing everything about it. Right. But that being said, he does great reviews. I think they still need to happen. But then there are other ways that could just be fun. Like you have a Lego set, just have people enjoy. I can't compare it to Tiago reviews. That's not going to happen. So why am I going to try to make a LAN review that he's already done? That's no point. I'm not going to go against David, let alone Ryan. Like there's no point. If it's a Star Wars set, he already has it before all LAN. There's no point of making a Star Wars LAN review if he already has it in the docket, right? So, well, in that case, that gives me the excuse to do something different. I'm hoping, a lot of LAN members do something different with it, and I've seen some do it. So it's not like they're not trying. It's just them being on board with, but also again, that takes time, and time is money for a lot of people. So
yeah, it's very true. And I guess at this point, I'm a little surprised that the LAN results for the second half of the year aren't out yet.
I know, I haven't heard anybody.
They were out, let's see, at this point a week ago, last year, they had already sent, the rejection emails they had already sent. So I can only imagine that means they had the acceptance all set up, but
I haven't heard rejections either. So normally you would see those.
Gone out. I'm fully expecting a rejection email. A couple weeks ago, the due date was end of September. So I did send it in on whatever that would have been, the Friday or Saturday that it was about to be due. So, and then I don't even think I'm really wanting to be in, just because to your point, like it's a commitment. You have to put in the time, you have to put in the effort, and I don't know, like
learning how to say no is actually a something that I thought I would never do when Lego's like, do you want to do stuff with this set? And I have to be like, no. Like a lot of the stuff that's coming January 1st, I said, I don't have time for this. Thank you, though.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's.
But I get it.
There's so many people out there that have, there's so many people in my mind that I know have applied that I want them to get in years ahead of whenever I would get in. And I guess for other reasons, I mean, to your point with telling them up front you don't want free sets. I'm curious how did they take to that? Did they say no, we will send you stuff?
No, they were. I mean, Sarah's very like media trained. At least how my interactions with her, so she won't say something that's gonna be used against her, which is great. So she thinks about what she says and then she says it.
Yeah.
So she didn't really have any emotion to me saying I don't want to do reviews, but I had another way, because one of the questions, and you filled it out, is how does LAN benefit you, or how do you benefit LAN?
Yeah.
Like, what do you want from LAN? And I made that perfectly apparent from the very beginning, like what I want out of it. And a lot of that had to do with interacting with other AFOLs. That's what I really wanted. I wanted the red tape to be removed from my name, so that way you experienced it already with the red tape, with having to interview people from Bricklink. Greg, same thing with London Calling, having Lego designers from all over the place, Lego house. So there's a red tape there. Like, you can't, like, they won't communicate with you if there's certain aspects about your channel or your name that goes against their rules. Like for you, what was one of them?
Yeah, having the 4-letter word in my name.
Exactly. So having that red tape removed can open up the doors for many things, and that's truly what I wanted, and I made that perfectly clear. So when I reiterated again, saying I don't want to do reviews, that's not my thing, and they were perfectly fine with it, because I also remember at Brick Slopes, Jordan was giving a talk about the LAN, or the Lego Ambassador Network, and he very strongly emphasized you do not have to do reviews. Like, we're looking for someone that's gonna take this set and take it to a different level. Like, be creative with it. Who said you had to do a review? Again, like, and I was like, oh yeah, you're right. I've been preaching this for a long time, but yes, thank you for saying that. So is that something you should try to aim for? Yeah, because that's the only way you're going to stick out, right? Because we're in an area where you have to be different to get bigger at this point. You can't be doing the same review that 50 other people do. Not to say you shouldn't do reviews. I think reviews are a good way to learn the craft. It's a good way to, good way to record, lighting, audio, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, do it for yourself. Once you figure out your own voice, well, then use it. So I think awesome. Lego, like I made that clear in Lego, and Lego was fine with it so far. I don't know, that could change tomorrow. I can get kicked out. You never know.
Yeah, that's fair. And I'm just at this point super curious to see who's gonna get the call. There's some people that I really, really want to get in. I know they have what it takes to stand out amongst the community, and not even like I don't ever want to personally pit LAN people against other LAN people. I feel like it's more of, to what I feel like LAN wants to achieve is you are going to help LAN, and LAN is going to help you and your community. Like, it's not really about, this LAN creator is going to be better than this potential LAN member is going to be better than this other potential LAN member, so we should go with this one. No, it's like, who's going to do the most with what they're being given. And so I know, and I'm like you said, a couple people that, fingers crossed, I really hope they get in, because whether they're full-time or whether it's just a really passionate hobby of theirs, it's
the people I know that applied, they can do great things. Yeah. So I'm hoping the people that I know that applied all get in. So, I love to have them in. And there was, like, again, that one of the goals for myself for LAN is to not make LAN look so bad, because it has such a negative connotation with a lot of members of the LEG community, which just kind of sucks, because there was a point where being in LAN wasn't bad. It was you applauded people who got in, and it wasn't a bad thing. And then all of a sudden, after 2 people got let go, it just became this really bad place to be. So, to have people come in that can really do cool things with it would definitely help the program. Again, like, you don't have to be huge to be in LAN. I can attest to that, but there are a lot of people that don't have a following on YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok or whatever, and they're in it as well. So it really it's really about your voice. Like, what kind of voice do you have that can make an impact? Yeah,
interesting. And to that point, with this connection that I have with the BDP and Bricklink, it's like I don't need to be in LAN. If I can already be in this without being in LAN, I'll be fine with it. It's not.
Man, I so wished you were here, like in Cali, so you can go. Like, there's a reason why I'm not trying to reach out to them. I'm like, nah, dude, I want I want CPA to make that first like tour. I don't want to go there without him. Like, I'm not doing it. So this is his baby. I'm not stepping on his toes for that. So there's a lot of respect for what you want out of it, and I know I have that access, but I don't want to do that too.
I don't want to be in your way. If you
I
go,
I'll go, but like I'm like, can we get CPA here with me? Like, I'm not.
Oh, that'd be so much fun. I mean,
Yeah.
It's not out of the realm of possibilities because I do have some family members that are out in LA, and but yeah, no, I'm already a part of the Bricklink
Ambassador Network.
Yeah. So I'll drop the band hammer anytime. You
Let's
you
go.
already know that I will.
Let's go.
So, but no, I've always wanted to go out west anyways. So,
well, then I don't have to
it's
go to
just
you.
about- Yeah, it's just about
Let's go here.
making it happen, making it a reality. So, but no, it'd be so awesome to visit Bricklink and meet all the people out there. But we'll see. We'll see. Life is only going to get busier and busier, and I'm sure you can attest to that.
Yep.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
it's definitely not easy to make content nowadays as it was for me like 2-3 years ago. I mean, my kids aren't so little anymore. They require
Yeah.
a lot of attention, and not just attention to me being right next to them. It's like taking them to all their extracurriculars, making sure they're doing their homework and they're succeeding in life.
Yeah.
So that's where a lot of my and by the time, like, before, I would not sleep. I would go for days without sleeping, like more than 3 hours every day, and I was used to that my entire life. Now I'm just mentally exhausted, where I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not creating content today. I'm just gonna sit here. So, it's not as easy as it was before, that's for sure. Plus, like the level of content that you see people post up, that's another thing that, like, you always have to weigh on yourself. Like, if you're gonna keep up with like all these creators, like how much time should you be putting into every video? Like, what are you doing to make yourself better in every video? And I think as we all progress, how long it takes for us to do a single video or an episode or whatever, just it just compounds. So what took me, go ahead.
Every time you're just and even with myself and the old videos where I used to make, where it was just sitting in front of a green screen and talking for 15, sometimes stupidly 20 minutes. And now when I've started to transition into more still in front of a green screen, because I think that's what maybe drew some people to my channel. So, but then just making it more of a crisp and more of an experience than just a yap fest in some sense. So I've sometimes looked at that and said, wow, but it only took an hour from filming to clicking upload or clicking submit. And I was like, yeah, that was really nice. But I don't know. I don't want to look back and say, well, I had this spurt where I made videos that I was pretty proud of, and now I'm not doing that anymore. So and I'm sure that's kind of what you were saying with, like, you want to keep getting better and better each time.
Yes, exactly. Like, I tell people that, who are just coming in, like, don't worry about trying to be the best looking sounding, edited video out there. You need to be the best that you can do at that time out there. So if you're posting because I'm just going to post, I could have done this better, and you posted anyways, no. That's what you need to fix. Like, do the best you can for what you have at that time. Eventually, the rest of it will come along with that.
Yeah.
So
very true. Very true. So then, looking forward to what's next for you. I know you've got a lot of stuff going on. I mean, you must have a lot going on if you had to turn down some January sets.
Oh, man.
Anything you can tease us with?
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got a little Lego box behind you that you might have to get started on soon.
I don't know. So, I don't know. I still don't know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna make that a short, dude. I'm gonna make that a full video. So yeah, that's gonna be a short. That's what that's gonna be. At this point, no one cares. It's gonna be. I have to do something before Friday, so it's gonna be a short. It'll be quick, and I'm done with it. But
will it float? Will it float short? Maybe?
Someone's already did it, so I'm not gonna do that. Plus, like I as much as I would love, if I were gonna keep that set, I would try to make it float, but I'm not. So the one thing I promise, and I'm making it publicly clear so people can hold that, could make that and hold me accountable for that. Any set that I get from LAN for review, just for the ones that are for review. So if they send me something for the holidays, I'm keeping that. I'm sorry, but like for review, I'm going to give it back to the community somewhere, whether that be another creator, someone in the audience, or someone I met down the street. And if I truly want it, I'll buy it again. So I want that. I really genuinely want this. So on Friday, I'm gonna buy one and get that one in the GWP and then give this one away. Or if I have it built and it's still pristine, I'll give the new one away. So with Sean as an example, the one I did with the battle pack, I gave that to Benji. This one I'm gonna give away as well, because one, that's another thing that people hold LAN members to, is like, well, you got it for free. Well, you can't hold that against me because I give them all away. So, but the thing is, like, I didn't come up with that. There are a lot of LAN members that give away their sets. They don't say it, but no one, they just still call them shills. I mean, Beyond the Brick is a perfect example of that. They give away every single Lego set they get. Everyone just still talks trash. So, you know, that a lot of, like, I've seen other LAN members do it. They give it away to people, their friends, all that kind of stuff, because eventually they can't house everything. Look at this. You don't have room for it. So, but, you know, I want you guys to hold me accountable. So that's what I'm doing. If I get a Lego set from LAN to review, I'm giving it away. And if I really, really want it, I'm going to rebuy it. And then I don't get the GWPs. So I want the GWPs, man.
No, but that's a bummer. Because I know have there been any GWPs so far that you were like, it would have been nice?
This one.
That's true.
This one, I would have loved that one. I had a minifigure in it. This one doesn't. No, again, like, I'm not looking to do review. There's one set that I truly want. Maybe I might get, which is the new modular. So. Oh yeah. I don't have it. It's not here. So if I get that, then I'll you know, still, again, if I get it January 1st, I'm still going to buy it. Yeah. So I don't even think
that modular's announced. I'm surprised they haven't announced anything about that yet. Like, I don't know.
I mean, they did it, but it's leaked and I can't talk about it. So either way, I'm looking forward to it if I get it. And then on January 1st, I'm looking forward to buying it with everybody else. So I'm also in a position where I can do that. Again, you know, I'm fortunate with my day job. So not saying that because I can do it, everyone can do it too. No, that's not, that's like to give it away. It's not an easy feat either. So for now, I'm fortunate enough to do that. So I will do it.
Awesome. Well, I think that about wraps it up for us tonight. Super great, super awesome to talk to you. And I was looking down at the clock a couple seconds ago and like, wow, we're already almost at 2 hours.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I talk a lot.
No, dude, you're good. I'm just like, it's been such an easy conversation. Just so easy to interact and flow and stuff like that. So I really appreciate that from you. And yeah, I mean, once again, just stream on Monday. I think it was awesome. I'm glad people loved it. And of course, with you being one of the newest LAN members from the summer, dude, I think it's nothing but going up. And hopefully, like you said, the opportunities to interact with the community, whether it's designers or people who have contributed prominently to our favorite toy, our favorite hobby. I mean, that's from what I've learned over the past year and a half-ish with my channel. That's sometimes more fun than building a Lego set, is just learning what went into that Lego set and all the ins and outs and stories here that you don't really see when you buy the set, but you learn about it and it just kind of brings it to a new level. It's always awesome to get those. So
the interactions of the people behind what this is what makes this place worth it. And I share that sentiment with you.
100%. Absolutely. Well, also want to thank everyone in the chat who stood with us through the whole time. Hoarder66, smash that like button. Why wouldn't you? And I think most of the people have. This is going to go down in the records so far as one of the top 5 streams. Woo! As far as audience and overall interaction. So I'm glad that you brought some people with you, evidently.
Yay, maybe.
Awesome.
This is all you, bro.
No.
This is all your success.
I appreciate that. It means a lot. And I'm glad how easy it's been. And I hope I can, if anyone has any doubts of what it's like getting into this community, that it really is as easy as just stepping out there and then just being kind, being nice.
Yes.
So the combination of those two things really gets you, honestly, anywhere within this community. So super awesome. We finally met at Brick World Chicago
Yes.
past year. You were one of my 3 people that I even said beforehand. I was like, gotta meet Shy.
I remember that
day
stream.
1.
Yeah. Yeah, that was cool. You saw me at some weird points.
Did I? Maybe I didn't know that I did.
Nothing that I would say on stream.
Yeah, we'll have to keep that. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, chat, once again. Thank you all for hanging out. Yeah, Justin, good to see you in chat. Papa Trip as well. PBJ, Mayo, Hosco, keeping the chat alive for the bulk of it, holding it down there. And of course, Cooper the Mod, as always. Thank you so much, everyone. We will hopefully I'll see you all next week. I'm not sure. We're still up in the air because it is Thanksgiving weekend, of course. So might be a little bit busy with Mrs. CPA and at her family. So we'll have to play that one by ear. But I will definitely let you all know. And Shy, once again, thank you so much. I imagine
Thanks for having
me
the
last time.
No,
you're always welcome to the channel. If I'll reach out to you if I have something where I think, oh, this would be perfect. So,
man,
right.
Thanks for having me. I'm always down. You know me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again, chat, for watching, and we will see you later.